Hey guys, welcome back. So I am a little frustrated because I recorded this video yesterday and realized that I had the wrong mic cord plugged up, so it had no sound. So I'm gonna just record part of this over, so bear with me. It did allow me to do a little bit more research and get my topics together so that I can give you more thorough information though. So if you catch me looking down my phone, it's just because I have notes on here on some of the definitions and reasons of why I take the things that I do. So I first want to say thank you guys so much for welcoming me back to YouTube. I truly appreciate all your support, your comments, your questions that you gave me of topics. So I'm definitely going to dive in. Some of these things will be random just because I have previous footage that I had uploaded with the intention of posting to YouTube that never made it. This particular video just was one of the topics I wanted to address, but I didn't, it's not coming quite in the order that I wanted to come, and that's probably how this channel is going to be. It all makes sense once you watch all the videos, but each video in itself I'm trying to give as much detail as possible, just because I never know who may come across that one video, but also trying to make it make sense with my life as well. So yesterday I needed to redo my vitamins and medications for the month, and so I went on and recorded it, and I'm just going to put it out there instead of waiting and holding the video and not giving you guys any content. So first up, I'm going to close the giveaway today, and I'm going to insert a screen footage here. As you see, showing you the comment that was selected randomly via some website of a winner. So congratulations to you. I will respond to your comment letting you know that you won on that video so that I can get your address and everything and send you out that 24K palette by Baddie Labs. So if you guys haven't checked out Baddie Labs, be sure to follow her at Baddie Labs Cosmetic or Instagram, baddielabs.com. Just show support to our fellow black business people that are out there trying to strive and make it. I do plan to host more giveaways and things like that coming up, just because I know it's been so long, and I definitely want to give back to you all as much as you are pouring into me. So first thing first, today's video is about vitamins, and this is specifically about a vitamin regimen post having gastric surgery. So that's any gastric surgery, whether it's the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, duodenal switch, the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, any of those surgeries, especially malabsorption surgeries. This is specifically what I take, and I'm also giving general information about vitamins in general. So let's get along with this. So first up is, what surgery did I have? It's called a biliopancreatic diversion with a duodenal switch. So what it is my stomach part, majority of my stomach was removed. 80 to 90% of my stomach was removed, and it's similar to having a vertical sleeve gastrectomy. Same stomach shape, they remove it. It's like the size of a banana now. But my intestines are also rerouted. So unlike the Roux-en-Y that has more of a common channel, my common channel is very short. So you have about 23 to 26 feet of small intestines, I believe. And that's, so as the food goes from your stomach and flows down to your intestines, it's mixing with the gastric juices in order to break down that food, absorb the nutrients it wants, and then you excrete, any fecal matter of leftovers that you have. So what my surgery did is it rerouted my intestines. So instead of having that 23 to 26 feet of small intestines that's all working, where my food is mixing with my gastric juices, I only have about 3 feet that my food and my juices come together. So my intestines is kind of split into two different functions. So one part is connected to my stomach, that actually is pulling the food out, and then the other part is kind of just releasing my gastric juices. So they're kind of flowing down my intestines, and then at the very end they come together for about 3 feet, and only during that 3 feet is where I absorb any nutrients or any vitamins, minerals, or anything from the food that I eat. So the purpose of my surgery is I can eat small portions, and then of those small portions that I eat, only a small part is absorbed. So that is what makes it so successful at losing weight. You're restricting the amount that you eat, and even then what I do eat, only a small amount of that is actually absorbed by my body. So because of that malabsorption, that is why we have to kind of dose ourselves very heavily with vitamins, because we are not able to survive and get the adequate vitamin supplements that we need based on our food intake alone. So the first year after surgery, you can kind of survive off of vitamins because your body has some stores of the very major vitamins. So those fat soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, those are stored in your fat tissue. So you will have some reserves of that. Your iron has some reserves for a little while. But most vitamins are water soluble, so your body doesn't kind of hold on to them. It kind of takes what it needs, and you excrete the rest when you go to the bathroom to urinate and things like that. So after that first year of you having surgery, you can kind of rely on that storage for a little while. But after a while, you depleted that storage, and you need to make sure that you're taking your vitamins, because without these vitamins, your body is not going to be able to fully function. And later in the video, I'm going to tell you each of the vitamins I take. There are 13 essential vitamins, so I'll break down what those 13 essential vitamins are, and it's usually found in every multivitamin tablet that you ever take, and I'm sure most people have taken the multivitamin tablet. So most vitamins, those tablets have all 13 essential vitamins in it. I also supplement with some electrolytes and things like that as well, based on my lab work and kind of what I feel like I need to take in order to keep myself stable. So there are two main types of vitamins. There's fat soluble, like I said, that vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. Those live in the adipose tissue, the fat tissue in your body, so they are stored in your body, and you do need dietary fat in order to absorb them. And then the next type is water soluble vitamins. So these are not stored in the body, as I mentioned earlier. Your body kind of takes it from the diet. Whatever it has in excess, then it gets rid of when you go to urinate. The only exception to this rule is vitamin B12, which can kind of be stored in the liver for many years. So kind of really hard to deplete vitamin B12 out of your body. So now that you know the two different categories of them, and the way that my surgery particularly works because of the malabsorption, I especially do not absorb fat. So any type of fat that I eat, very little of it is actually absorbed into my body. Most of it will come right back out when I go to the restroom through my fecal matter or things like that. So sometimes with this surgery, and I'll go into this in another video of things that I don't hear many people talk about unless you already had this surgery, is you excrete fat. Like, you will see it in the toilet. If you eat especially a very fatty meal, it will go through you. You will literally see it in the toilet floating on top. So my particular surgery does not allow my body to absorb much fat, so I cannot take any fat soluble vitamins that are in any type of oil, which is what you mostly see, especially like with vitamin E. I know you've seen like vitamin E oil that you can rub on your hands, your skin, and your hair and things like that. I cannot take vitamins, fat soluble vitamins in that form. I take them in what is called a dry form, and so that's usually a capsule or chewable or something like that. So I have to take all of my vitamins in that format. So these are the different ways to take them. So you can take them in a dry form, that's either with a capsule or chewable, which I did take a chewable for a while post surgery. It's the easiest to absorb because you're already breaking it down in your stomach. It doesn't take much, and at that point you're not producing much gastric juices. You're getting used to your stomach healing, so usually most physicians will start you out with a chewable. I don't like the taste that they have, and I also don't like the foamy texture that it kind of builds up. So I switched to a capsule as soon as I could. Initially, you usually, if you do take a chewable, you have to break it up in segments, because most chewables either have iron or they have calcium. Most of them have calcium, and you can only absorb so much calcium at a time, so you either have to take that chewable 2 to 4 times a day. Right now, I currently take a capsule once a day, but I have my vitamins over here. You can't see them, but I will go through them one by one and tell you exactly what I take, how many times I take it, and so on. The next one, some people can take gummies. You're not supposed to take gummies after weight loss surgery, mainly because most gummies do not have, they are not complete multivitamins, so they don't have either the calcium in it or they don't have the iron in it. They don't usually have all 13 of those essentials, so you don't want to take those. And it's kind of a bit hard for your body to break down those gummies because you have that limited stomach and that limited gastric juices to break it down. And gummies also have fat, and like I said, don't absorb fat, so it will be harder for me to absorb any vitamins from that. There's another thing called vitamin patches that you can put on your skin. Just by research has shown that they don't really help with people that have had gastric surgeries. So I've never tried them. Most physicians don't try them, but some people say that they work for them. So it may be an option for you. I've never tried them, so I can't say. Then there is liquids. Some companies like Tespo make like little liquid shots that kind of put the vitamins in like a juice mix that you kind of take a shot of. I haven't tried those either, so I can't give you any suggestions on that. Then there's sublingual, where most B12 vitamin, you can put a little tablet under your tongue, let it dissolve, and that's how your body will readily absorb it. And then some people get them through IV, which I did at one point. I had a PICC line that went directly to my heart, and I was receiving all of my vitamins and as well as my nutrition that way, because I was not able to eat adequately for a while. So that's that. The way that I determine what vitamins I take, because originally when you first get out of surgery, you really only have to take a multivitamin and calcium and kind of figure out what your body is lacking in after that, and you kind of like supplement extra of those things that you're lacking, because that, like I said, the multivitamin will have all the vitamins that you need. And then you take calcium, because you can't take iron and calcium at the same time because they compete for a binding factor. So you have to separate them and take them like at least 2 to 4 hours apart from each other. So either your multivitamin will have calcium or it will have iron. It will never have both because they compete for the same binding properties. So you usually have to take both of those, and you can pretty much get by with those as long as you're not lacking with anything else. So the way that you determine this is with weight loss surgery, they do draw blood work. Your first year, well, I can only speak for myself. My first year, I got my first panel done about 3 months after, then again in about 3 months after that. I was doing them like every 3 months until I went to a critical point where I was becoming malnourished. And then I started getting them every month to make sure that I wasn't losing too much with the ability of me not being able to eat adequately, as well as I was going through a bout of throwing up a lot. And I will talk about that experience in another video. I just want to focus on the vitamins today. And so when you have your levels, your labs drawn, they check levels of a bunch of various vitamins. And I will insert some of my labs here so you can kind of see the things that they check. I know I get like a complete metabolic panel. I get my iron tested, my vitamins A, my vitamin D, my vitamin K, my B1 tested, my B12, my thyroid tested, my folic acid, my transferrin, like a bunch of different labs I ran. Copper, zinc, magnesium, like things you don't really normally ever check with non-gastric surgeries. These things are checked on a very micronutrient level to ensure that you have all of these things, because all of these vitamins and micronutrients are very important for the vitality of your body to be able to function. So what vitamins do I take? I will show you. So this is my first month taking this bariatric pal. Normally I was taking ProCare, and I'll insert a picture on either side so you can see both of them. I switched to this one only because I do an Amazon subscription where I get all my packages once a month. And it is, by me doing that, I'm able to save an additional 15% off the total of most things that I purchase. So it comes out to be a little cheaper for me. So this is my first month taking this one. So I take this one once a day. It is a complete vitamin that has an additional 45 milligrams of iron in it. So this is my complete vitamin with iron. So it basically has everything that I need post-duodenal switch, with the exception of my calcium. So speaking of calcium, this is my calcium. I take a calcium citrate. I changed the brand. It doesn't really matter to me. I try to go with the best bang for my buck. So the most I could get at the cheapest price. And I personally try to take a calcium citrate. Calcium citrate is more easily digestible, especially for people that are post weight loss surgery, because calcium citrate does not require a lot of gastric juices. You don't have to take it, on a full stomach. You can take it on an empty stomach and it won't upset your stomach like that or anything like that. The other option is calcium carbonate, which requires a lot of gastric juices, and usually you have to take it on a full stomach. And it also could lead to you having stones, whether that's kidney stone, gallbladder stones, uterine stones. Like, it could produce those because it does have a lot of elemental calcium. So it has more elemental calcium, but it's also harder on your body to digest. So I just stick with the calcium citrate. When I was having that bout of throwing up, it was because I accidentally was taking calcium carbonate. I tried to get away from taking pills and have a flavored chew instead, not realizing that it was calcium carbonate. And I wasn't really eating at that point. So I was throwing up the little bit that I was consuming, not realizing that I was taking the wrong calcium. So back to the vitamins. With these two, you are complete. For the most part, if your labs come up perfectly fine, then you are fine. You do not have to supplement with anything else. So for somebody that is trying to prepare for surgery, any weight loss surgery, get you a multivitamin with iron and some calcium and you're good. That's it. Good to go. You're done. But for me, some of my vitamins levels were low because I was not able to get what I needed through my food because I wasn't eating as much. And I do have my last lab levels were checked in November. I have one that I'm going to do in April, and once I figure out the April one, after I've had this routine, that will let me know which of these I can kind of cut back out of my life. Some of these I personally just added on because I felt like I was kind of on the borderline, so I just wanted to boost myself up and not be so close to the edge of falling into deficiency. And then some of them are recommended by my nutritionist, but all of these are approved by my nutritionist. Some of them she wants me to take, and then some that I'm taking extra of just because it makes me feel better mentally. So this is a chewable vitamin. Like I said, I started out with these. I did not like them, so I do still keep them around for any event that I accidentally forget not to have some of these. I do take these in a pinch. Then next up, this is the only prescription that I take. This is potassium. Oh wait, so before we get to that, so like I said, this all-in-one vitamin has the 13 essential vitamins, and I just kind of wanted to give you what those 13 essential vitamins are and what kind of function that they are needed for in the body. So the first one is vitamin A, and like I told you before, that one is a fat soluble vitamin. So vitamin A is used to form and maintain healthy bones, teeth, and then also the tissue, membranes, and skin. So that's what vitamin A is for. Vitamin B6 helps to form red blood cells, maintain brain function, and it also plays a role in the production of proteins using any kind of chemical functions. So the more protein that you eat, the more of the vitamin B6 that you need. And with post weight loss surgery, you have high intake of protein. That is the main thing that you're consuming. You have to consume all your protein first, and we can talk about that in another video of what a diet looks like post any type of gastric surgeries. Next up would be vitamin B12, which is responsible for metabolism and red blood cells. Next up is vitamin C, which is an antioxidant that promotes healthy teeth, gums, and helps the body to absorb iron. So you need iron, you need vitamin C to go along with your iron in order for the body to be readily able to absorb it. Vitamin D, which is also fat soluble, helps the body absorb the calcium. It's important in cytokine responses. So this has also been a key factor in what they're calling kind of one of the disparities amongst why potentially people of color are getting more severe cases of COVID, is because most people that are people of color are deficient in vitamin D. I'm sorry, I'm mixing up my words. They're deficient in vitamin D, and it's mainly because vitamin D they call it the sunlight vitamin, because you get most of it through being out in the sun. With the darker pigmentation of our skin, it's harder for the sun's rays to penetrate to help create that vitamin D, and you cannot get, I won't say you cannot, it's harder to get the full dose of what you need of vitamin D by nutrition alone. So if we aren't taking, and I mean we as in people of color, aren't taking a vitamin D supplement, then more than likely you are deficient. And most doctors will not check for that if you do not have a doctor that is very abreast in people of color. I did not find out about this type of thing until I had a doctor, a black doctor, that brought it up and checked mine, and lo and behold, it was like extremely low. And when it gets that low, they usually recommend like this very high dose of vitamin pill that you take once a week. That's like this little oil capsule. You take it once a week for about 2 months, and then they recheck it, and usually it will help boost people up. They tried that with me. Like I said, my surgery does not allow me to take oil-based vitamins, so it did not work at all with me. It was a waste of money and a waste of time. I even tried to take that very high dose of 50,000 IU in that fat capsule once a day, and it did absolutely nothing. My body was not absorbing it. I even tried opening it up out the capsule and squirting it into my mouth. My body still said no, so my body is not absorbing any of those fat soluble vitamins. So yep, didn't work for me. But like I said, vitamin D is important in that cytokine response. So what a cytokine response is, kind of like when your body gets sick and it has all of these kind of invasive things coming in and attacking. It's kind of like putting a lid on there. So if this is the pot that all of these viruses and this COVID virus is coming in and attack, vitamin D will kind of put a lid on that pot to kind of keep it intact and keep it from getting too severely out of control. And so that's kind of a role that vitamin D takes. And then we have vitamin E, which is also fat soluble. It's an antioxidant, and it helps to form red blood cells, and also uses vitamin K. So vitamin K is also fat soluble, and it's needed for blood coagulation. So that's what helps the blood stick together, and it's responsible for that. So then what else is in these multivitamins is biotin. I know a lot of you all are familiar with biotin because a lot of people think it's to help your skin, your hair, and your nails grow and things like that. But it's also important for the metabolism of proteins and carbs, and is responsible for the production of hormones and cholesterol. So that's the main purpose of biotin. Biotin is also water soluble, so that's why people get those breakouts, and if they don't drink enough water, your body is going to get rid of too much biotin. So it's pointless really to take those extreme doses of it, because your body's going to take what it needs and you're going to pee out the rest. The next important essential vitamin that is in here is niacin. And so niacin is a B vitamin, and it helps to maintain healthy skin, nerves, and it helps to also lower cholesterol. A lot of people experience like kind of itchiness if they take too much niacin. You do urinate it out as well. And then next up is folate. And folate works with vitamin B12 to form red blood cells, and it also is needed to produce DNA. This is also very important for people that are either trying to get pregnant or already pregnant. And then riboflavin, which is B2, is also important. It is for body growth, and it works with the other B vitamins in order to produce red blood cells. And then lastly is vitamin B1, which is also known as thiamine. And this one helps the body change carbs into energy. This is also given to a lot of people that are coming off of substance abuse as well, to help them go from that keto state into actually using carbs as their energy source again. Just a quick information that I learned when I used to do drugs research. So those are the 13 essential vitamins in here, and then like I said, there is also iron in here. So then I also take this potassium, and then this potassium is the only prescription that I take. I've always had very good blood pressure even when I was fat. So losing weight has made my blood pressure kind of extremely low, and my electrolytes are kind of off balance. So if I stand up too fast, I get like symptoms of anemia, where I kind of have to just chill for a minute to keep from throwing up and not feeling dizzy and stuff like that. So this potassium is one of those electrolytes that helps balance me out and make sure that I'm not feeling that kind of weight. And so the importance of potassium is, like I said, it is an electrolyte, and it helps the nerves contract, and then it also helps your heart maintain a steady and regulated beat. Like I said, this is the only prescription that I am on. I take these 3 times a day, and they are big salt pills. I'm sure you guys have seen potassium pills before. And then next I take, this is just the calcium, magnesium, zinc, but that's included into my calcium, so I don't take that separately right now. I take zinc sometimes, and what zinc is good for is it helps your immune system and your metabolism. So I do take this sparingly. I mean, sometimes every day, but most times every other day. So I just will say once a day I take this, and this is water soluble as well. And then I also take an additional iron on top of the iron that's in my multivitamin. So this brand in particular is Vitron C. This one is an additional 65 milligrams, and this one is 45 milligrams in my multivitamin. So this gives me an additional 65 milligrams. I take this one every other day, or sometimes every day, but for the most part I take it every other day. In August I ended up having a iron transfusion because my iron was really low. This was during the point where I couldn't really eat, and I was on TPN, or just getting off TPN rather. I started to supplement with this extra every other day, and then I went back in November and my labs are fine, and I did not need another iron infusion. So I'm just going to keep this in. I don't know how well it worked, if it was my increase in food or if it was actually this. I have a few more bottles of this, so I'm going to just take the rest of this out, and then I will wean myself off of it. If my labs drop again, then I'll add it back in, but so far I just take it every other day. And then for my own sake, I am not low in either of these vitamins. This is a 80K vitamin, but I was kind of borderline in K, and then I am low in D. So I just went on and got another 80K that I supplement with. I take this once a day as well. And if not by now, I'm going to insert the prices of each of these vitamins so that you can see how much these cost. And then I'll also break down how much it costs per day, and then my total per month that I spend on vitamins. And then I also take magnesium. I'm not low in this one either. I was just kind of borderline, so I added it in there. I'm probably not going to repurchase this because, like I said, the magnesium is also in my calcium that I take 3 times a day. So it's kind of like overkill, and I'm sure I'm urinating this one out. So I do have a little left in this bottle, but after this I probably won't repurchase it again. And then last but not least, I take an additional copper. So there is 2 milligrams of copper that is in my multivitamin, but my copper was low, so I have been taking an additional 2 milligrams a day. The purpose of that copper vitamin is that it works with the iron to help form blood cells. And then what's important with the magnesium is that it's a cofactor for over 300 enzymes that are in the body that are responsible for like energy production, glycolysis, as well as oxidation. And I think I forgot, the importance of iron is that it helps to make hemoglobin to carry oxygen in the blood. So that's how the different parts of your body are able to get the oxygen that you breathe in order to work properly. And I think that was all of them. Oh, I didn't go over the purpose of calcium. So the purpose of calcium, I'm sure everybody knows, is for teeth and bones, and it helps to control muscle movements. It helps the nerves to carry out messages, especially from the brain, and for the nerves to carry out messages to the body to like let your arm know it should move. I also, so this was my very last one. I take a vitamin D. I take a high dose vitamin D, and this is a vitamin D in the dry form, so it is a capsule. I don't think I have any more in here. That's why I didn't show it earlier, because I'm re-recording this video and I used the last one up. So this is 50,000 IU's of vitamin D, and I take this every other day right now because I am back to a normal sufficient level. At first I was deficient, and then next up from that is insufficient, and so now I am sufficient. So I just take it every other day for now. I probably will end up going to like 2 or 3 times a week once I get my lab levels checked, because I'm taking vitamin D in this format every other day with this pill, and then it's also in my ADK, and it's also in my calcium. There's a very small dose of it in my calcium, as well as in my multivitamin. So I'm getting vitamin D from a bunch of different places. So eventually I am going to be done with this. I'm going to order one more container, check my labs again, and see how that works. So the purpose of that vitamin D is it's a cofactor for calcium. You need vitamin D in order for your body to absorb the calcium. And like I said, it's important in cytokines and things like that. So those are all the vitamins that I take and the purpose of taking them. If you have any questions or need any more information on that, let me know, and I will try to be as detailed as possible. I'm trying to definitely make this as thorough of a video, knowledgeable, so that you know and make the right decision when you're thinking about having these types of surgeries, because especially with mine, this is a lifelong thing that I have to do for the rest of my life. I have to be on vitamins in order for my body to be stable and have the right level of micronutrients that it needs to function in an optimal state. So for the cost of these vitamins, I ended up breaking down everything based on how many times I take a day, how much it costs per pill, and I ended up coming up with a total that it costs $46.35 per month in vitamins that I take. And I personally buy in bulk, and like I said, I buy it off Amazon, subscribe and save, so I get around 15% off of that total. So once I take a 15% total off of that, my total cost of vitamins that I pay per month right now is $39.40. So it's well worth it to me to pay that for the rest of my life than to deal with some of the health conditions that I was having before. And that works for me. It's not a cost burden for me, but that is something that you want to factor in for yourself. And that number will reduce for me as I start to cut out some of these. So I probably will do an update after I have my next lab level to let you know if I cut anything out or change the dosage of anything. But for the most part, if you were to just start out, this here is $15, and then I think this is $15, and this is probably a 2-month supply. So I would say somewhere around $20 or so when you first start out, and then you supplement as needed. I don't think most people take potassium, so this alone is 1 month and $10. So it will vary per person, but you'll usually start out somewhere around $20 or so per month just to do the multivitamin and the calcium if you are very conservative and frugal with your funds. So for my particular regimen, I like to fill up my pill boxes once a month. So I have these 4 compartment containers, and I have 4 of these. I have a bunch of pill boxes, and this is the system that I found that worked for me. So this is the system I've been sticking with so far. I do this once a month, and the reason why I do it once a month is because this is a prescription. I can only get 1 month at a time. So if I could get more, then I would probably buy more of these containers and just do a bunch of them at one time. But this is my limiting factor, so I just do it once a month. And so I break down my pills into 4 times a day because, like I said, you cannot take calcium with iron, and I need to take calcium 3 times a day. Well, 2 to 3 times a day. And you'll see in another clip, I'm not very good at taking my last dose sometimes. So I purposely build my regimen out so that most of my vitamins are taken through the first part of the day. And then if I accidentally miss that last dose, it's okay because I can take my calcium 2 to 3 times a day. It doesn't really make a difference. I try to strive for 3 times a day just so that I can be as efficient as possible. But it hasn't hurt me if I've dropped down to 2 times a day. So you kind of play with those numbers. So for my routine, in the morning I take 2 calcium, 1 vitamin D, a magnesium, and a potassium. And so that's my first dose of vitamins. So I take that at 8 a.m. And then at 12 p.m. I take my multivitamin that has the iron in it, copper, my additional iron if I'm taking it, because like I said, I take it every other day, and then I take another calcium pill. I do that because my copper will help my iron to absorb, and then I can't take my iron with my potassium. And my multivitamin has iron in it as well, so I have to take those separately. And then at 4 o'clock, I take 2 more calciums, my high ADEK vitamin, my zinc, and then my last potassium for the day. And then at night, if I don't forget, I take my last 2 calcium pills, and then that concludes my day. So as you see, I push all of my important vitamins the first 3 time slots, and then I leave just the calcium by itself at night just in case I accidentally forget it. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. So just in case I do, I tend to do it that way. I also take calcium first thing in the morning because I'm trying to get back to drinking a protein drink first thing in the morning, and those usually have calcium, so I don't want my calcium and my multivitamin to compete. So I take a calcium in the morning just in the event that I do have a protein drink first thing in the morning instead. So I will now show footage of me filling up these boxes and kind of showing you how I place them in that order, and now I've explained why I do it that particular way. So that's it. I try to keep organized like this. It's easy once I do this once a month to just grab my pills for the day, pop them in my mouth, and not really have to think about, am I taking the right pill right now? Did I take a calcium with my iron? Like, it's easy for me to just lay it all out 1 month, and then that be that. I do have alarms on my phone, but I also made easy number time points for me to do it. So I do 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 4 p.m., and then 8 p.m. So every 4 hours. And I have an alarm go off every 4 hours so that I stop what I'm doing, take my vitamins, move on with my day. It just becomes a thing of habit after a while. You just gulp them down and keep it moving. So hopefully this video was very thorough, gave you an idea of what a vitamin regimen is like post-gastric surgery, especially with the duodenal switch surgery. These vitamins are tailored towards me. I am under a nutritionist as well as my surgeon. They have approved all the things that I take. They know what I take. I'm very clear what I take. I'm an advocate for myself. So like I said, some of these are not things that they told me to take, but because I do not want to be on the borderline and put myself at risk for any type of deficiency, I take a little bit more until I'm comfortable with the level I'm at, and then I'll kind of wean off because I feel like I'll be in a safe zone. So with all of that said, hopefully I was able to address any questions that you guys may have about this routine. But if I didn't and you have any other topics or suggestions that you would like me to cover as far as this goes, leave them down in the comment section below. I thoroughly appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me and the comments.